Hello and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. Wednesday's video was our 400th episode and I got in a little trouble with our editor Taylor for not mentioning that, so now I have. Thanks for sticking with us all this time, you guys are the best.
Buttmeister presents Real Men of Genius.
You are a fine captain, but a better friend there is none.
Slut, love junk.
You're gonna get
For those about to rock.
And now the news. Totalitarian rule and draconian gun control didn't stop a madman from driving his car through a crowd of people who were performing their mandatory state-required exercises, killing 35 people and injuring 43 more. This latest incident is just another example in a long string of vehicle attacks and stabbings in a country where possession of a single round of ammo could land a person in a concentration camp.
We prefer to call it the Institute.
Authorities say the killer is in a coma after they claim he stabbed himself. Y'all think old bro's gonna make it to trial?
Ancient Chinese secret, huh?
But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors, so let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Franklin Armory. Franklin Armory, those freedom facilitators who brought you twice the pews with their binary firing system because it's a scientific fact that bad guys with twice as many holes in them are half as dangerous. So in the unfortunate event you should ever need your firearm for defense, remember, it's math. It can't be wrong. And by Vortex. Their new Defender line of red dots features a constant on emitter with no flicker and shake awake, so it is always ready. The Defender CCW is impressively compact for daily carry, the ST is a bit larger, and the XL is an absolute beast with one of the largest windows available on a micro red dot. And by Hydra. The Mark 15 Hydra is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, a bolt, and a magazine well. If you're some kind of slack-jawed mouth breather who gets his news from the legacies, you might get the impression there is some kind of epidemic of school shootings in the US, but in reality, bee stings and lightning strikes each kill more Americans, and nobody is advocating for common sense bee control or clamoring to raise awareness about storm safety.
Safety, safety, time for safety.
In fact, the majority of reported shootings never actually happened at all. To be clear, I don't mean that an incident was reported inaccurately. I mean no incident whatsoever occurred in the majority of instances. In the overwhelming majority of the remaining cases, it is gang and drug-related activity and usually after school hours and or on property adjacent to a school. Very few shooting incidents actually happen at school while students are present, but when they do, there's a really good chance it was a cop involved.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
On the 6th of this month, the constable at Stanton Middle School cranked off a round in the hallway. Now, the school refused to release his name, but it's right there in the directory. And their excuse is that he was repositioning the gun in his holster. The legacy media is dutifully parroting the school's statement without asking why the idiot was funneling his weapon in the first place. Then, just 2 days later, a cop in Greeley, Colorado had to euthanize a cougar that got too close to the school. Or at least I think that's what happened. The world-class wordsmiths at K99 Northern Colorado's New Country wrote, "The Greeley Police Department recently released a statement explaining why an officer shot fire near Madison K8 on November 8th.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
To be clear, I'm not criticizing this officer. The police tried to contain the animal and called Colorado Parks and Wildlife to tranquilize it and relocate it, but the officer had to shoot the animal when it started to get away. That's perfectly reasonable. What's not remotely reasonable is that this sort of thing is actually what control freaks are talking about when they start yammering about the epidemic of school shootings in the country. Just when you think it's safe to take the bumpy boy out to the range, the control freaks try to ban them again. Gun control lost them the office of the president and dozens of other campaigns, but they still want to double down on the authoritarian rhetoric. Senator Dick Durbin autistically screeched into the void on X Wednesday with multiple posts indicating he intends to pursue a ban on bumpy things.
So damn funny. Look, it's all there for you to see. He's a battle formation.
It looks like backstage at an Elton John concert.
Can they get it done? I doubt it. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of political will behind gun control these days. How are you going to convince a blue team politicritter who just watched his comrades get absolutely mowed down for supporting gun control when he knows he has to make it through the midterm? Now, I'm not saying they can't do it, but it doesn't look good for them. Now, some of you might be thinking to yourselves right now, Self, didn't SCOTUS rule that bumpy things are a go at this station? Well, yes, but no. The Supremes ruled the ATF can't just make up law, and bumpy things don't meet the statutory definition of a machine gun. But Congress absolutely could pass a law banning them. That law would then have to work its way through the courts because it would be unconstitutional, of course, but they could pass the law. Your favorite East Coast chumbucket attorney general is at it again. This time, Matt Plankton is suing 2 New Jersey gun shops for, get this, selling ammo. Platkin whimpered, "These stores treated the sale of 1,000 rounds of highly lethal ammunition, the kind we see in mass shootings around this country, like they were selling nothing more than a loaf of bread."
So just normal friend stuff.
The Garden State has numerous laws regarding the possession, purchase, and sale of ammo. Now, I don't want to bore you, but they require you to have a state permission slip beforehand, plus a redundant background check when you buy it, and they require gun shops to record the purchaser's name and other details. So when these shops sold ammo to an undercover cop without asking any of that stuff, they violated New Jersey's unconstitutional law. But what I don't understand is why the AG is filing a lawsuit instead of criminal charges. Is it because he knows he'll get curb stomped in the court and the law will be struck down? I'm not a lawyer because my heart belongs to Jesus, so if anybody can explain this to me, I'd love to hear it. Y'all remember last year I reported about an armed rideshare company? Well, in case you missed it, it's pretty much what it sounds like. The company's name is Black Wolf, and it started in Atlanta, and basically it's Uber, but with armed and trained drivers. Last year, I reported they expanded to New York, and the reason they're hitting the news cycle again is they are expanding to Texas. So, sounds like they're doing quite well, and I wish them further success. I just have a couple of thoughts. One, this service seems like it's probably a lot more useful in places with restrictive carry laws, so I don't know why they didn't go to California. I mean, I get that I'm projecting my own peasant thinking on this. I'm sure most of the target demo is accustomed to having things done for them. So maybe it doesn't really matter to them what the carry laws are in a particular state. My other thought, though, is that while this is certainly very cool, it contributes to the perception that protection afforded by guns is a thing that should be reserved for the elites and their crown-sanctioned protectors. It also reminds me that companies like Uber and Lyft still profit off the vulnerability of their drivers. Sure, it's not like they can enforce their gun ban, but it shows their total disregard for the safety of their drivers and passengers. What do you think? Do rideshare companies have the right to tell people what they can do in their own car? And now, for your moment of zen. Hey friend, do you like pews and pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pure American pew merchandise at the low price of... We literally couldn't pay our bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you. Actually talking about when the gun...